Russia is the world's largest country, spanning 11 time zones and stretching from Norway to North Korea. Its sheer size is staggering. You could fit the United States inside it twice. Yet, most of this vast land is nearly empty. Imagine a mansion where everyone crowds into just a few rooms, leaving the rest deserted. That's Russia. Over 80% of its people live in the western fifth of the country. This lopsided population isn't random. It's shaped by geography, history, and economics. The land itself dictates where people can thrive, with cold mountains and frozen ground limiting options. Tsars, commissars, and presidents have all tried to spread people east, but the population still clusters in the west. This imbalance explains much about Russia's politics, economy, and worldview. It reveals why some regions are powerful while others struggle. The story of Russia is a constant tug-of-war between human ambition and the raw power of nature. To understand Russia, you have to understand why its people crowd into one corner. In this video, we'll explore the deep reasons behind this imbalance. We'll travel through Russia's climate, history, and modern life to see why this giant nation has a crowded corner and a vast empty heart. The answer is written on the map itself. Let's begin our journey into the heart of Russia's population puzzle. Why does the world's largest country feel so small where it matters most? The answer starts with the cold. The biggest reason for Russia's empty spaces? The cold. Much of Russia is simply too frigid for large populations to thrive. Winters are brutally long and severe. Siberian temperatures can plunge to -50 Celsius. Farming is nearly impossible in most regions. The growing season is short, and permafrost covers vast areas. Permafrost acts like concrete, making construction and infrastructure a nightmare. Only the southwest, with its Black Earth region, has soil and climate mild enough for reliable agriculture. People naturally settle where food can be grown and life is manageable. The rest of Russia's land is a frozen barrier, more powerful than any wall. Even with modern technology, the east remains harsh and unwelcoming. The cold sorts people, pushing them westward. The climate is the invisible hand shaping Russia's population map. It's not just uncomfortable, it's a force that defines where life can flourish. The result, a crowded west and a vast empty east. Geography and climate work together, funneling people into Russia's European heartland. The cold is the ultimate gatekeeper. It's why Russia's giant territory feels so empty, but climate is only part of the story. Geography channels Russia's people as much as climate does. The North European plain, stretching from the western border to the Urals, is Russia's historic heartland, flat, fertile, and threaded with rivers like the Volga and Don. These rivers were the first highways, making trade and travel possible. The Ural Mountains, though not tall, mark a clear divide. European Russia to the west, Siberia to the east. East of the Urals, the land becomes marshy, mountainous, and hard to cross. The south and east are sealed off by mountain ranges, cutting Russia off from warmer lands and easy trade. Movement and settlement have always followed the east-west corridor of the plains. That's why Russia's major cities and railways run along this axis. The land itself guides where people can live, farm, and build. Russia's map is a story of natural corridors and barriers. The result, a dense west, a sparse east. Russia's history began in the west, on the North European plain. Early Slavic tribes settled along rivers in what's now Western Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. Kievan Ruses thrived here, thanks to trade routes connecting north and south. After the Mongol invasion, Moscow rose as the new center, protected by forests and river routes. Over centuries, Moscow became the political and cultural heart of Russia. Cities like Novgorod and St. Petersburg also flourished in the west. Generations built their lives, institutions, and traditions here. The west became Russia's stable core, with deep roots and a sense of permanence. People tend to stay where their ancestors lived. The historical momentum of settlement is hard to reverse. Even as the empire expanded east, the population's heart remained in the west. Russia's story starts, and mostly stays, here. Russia's eastward expansion was driven by the search for wealth, not new homes. In the 16th century, Tsars sent Cossacks and adventurers east for furs, soft gold, that enriched the state. They built forts along rivers, but few Russians settled permanently. Siberia became a place of exile, not opportunity. Prisoners and exiles were sent there, not volunteers. Even after serfdom ended, few peasants wanted to brave the wilderness. The Trans-Siberian Railway, built in the late 1800s, connected Moscow to the Pacific and spurred some migration. New towns grew along the tracks, but most of Siberia remained empty. Settlement was limited to a narrow corridor. The vast north and south stayed wild. Geography and climate kept the population thin. The east was conquered but never truly settled. The railway changed movement, not the map's imbalance. The power of nature still ruled. Russia's heart stayed in the west. The Soviet era brought a new approach: move people east by force. Stalin's regime built the Gulag system, millions sent to labor camps in Siberia and the Far East. Prisoners built cities, mined resources, and endured brutal conditions. Alongside forced labor, the state ordered workers and young communists to new industrial towns. Monotowns sprang up, built around a single factory or mine. The population of the East grew, but it was artificial, driven by state control, not natural attraction. When the Soviet Union collapsed, subsidies vanished, factories closed, and life in remote cities became harsh. Millions left the East, heading back to the West. The Soviet attempt to conquer geography failed. The East emptied out again. The old pattern reasserted itself. Russia's population snapped back to its crowded corner. Today, Moscow is Russia's undisputed center, political, economic, and cultural. With over 13 million people, it offers the best jobs, highest salaries, and top universities. Ambitious Russians from across the country flock to Moscow for opportunity. The city's wealth and power create a cycle. More talent arrives, more businesses follow, and the city grows stronger. Other Western cities like St. Petersburg attract people too, but none rival Moscow's pull. The result is a huge imbalance. Jobs in Moscow pay far more than in the East. Life is more comfortable, connected, and modern in the West. The East can't compete with the quality of life or opportunity. This urban magnetism isn't unique to Russia, but the country's size makes it extreme. The government tries to develop other regions, but Moscow's advantages are overwhelming. As long as Moscow dominates, people will keep leaving the East. The crowded corner grows ever more crowded. Life in Russia's east is defined by distance, isolation, and harsh conditions. Towns are scattered, often hundreds of kilometers apart, linked by fragile roads or railways. Many rely on a single industry: oil, gas, mining, or timber. If the main employer fails, the town can vanish. The population is shrinking and aging as young people leave for the West. Public services struggle to survive in depopulated areas. Despite the challenges, those who stay are resilient and proud of their frontier spirit. The wilderness offers beauty and freedom, but not enough to reverse the trend. The East continues to empty out. The pull of the West is relentless. Can Russia's population map ever change? Climate change is warming Siberia faster than the global average, potentially making some areas more livable. Melting permafrost could open new farmland and ease construction. The northern sea route is becoming navigable, promising new trade and jobs along the Arctic coast. But these changes bring risks: unstable ground, environmental hazards, and unpredictable challenges. The government is trying to lure people east with free land and incentives. Programs like the Far Eastern Hectare aim to spark new growth. Yet the forces of geography, history, and economics are hard to overcome. Moscow's pull remains strong. Climate and policy may shift the map, but not overnight. The question remains: can human ambition and technology truly reshape Russia's population? Or will the giant always have a crowded corner and an empty heart? Only time will tell.